Today on the channel, we're doing a delicious set of Snake River Farms Wagyu dino ribs, otherwise known as beef on the stick. I mean, take a look at these guys. Gonna be delicious. Let's get into it. What's up, barbecue fans? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake. You're watching Run Cook. Today on the channel, we're doing some dino ribs. We're breaking out the Kamado Joe Konnected Joe. Now, this is actually the third cook for me. I did a second cook right after I did the initial unboxing, and unfortunately, I lost some of the footage. So you guys missed out on a delicious set of ribs. Let me tell you, it was one of the best sets of ribs I've made in a long time. Not necessarily because it was on the Kamado Joe, just knocked it out of the park. And I was really sad I lost some of that footage. However, today I've got another treat for you. And like I said, we're doing some Wagyu dino ribs from Snake River Farms. Now listen, I looked all over for dino ribs. They're really hard to find right now. And you know, when I was looking at some of the prices, they were like 110 bucks. And these guys were like 139. I mean, 20 more bucks for Wagyu? Hell yeah. So I picked those up. One of the things I'm going to be doing in this series of videos about the Konnected Joe is I'm going to be answering some of your questions that I see in the comments on Instagram and just address them in real time as best as I can. I mean, obviously you can always email me, drop me a comment, I try and respond to them. But for those of you who have the question in your mind and didn't ask it, I'm trying to answer them. Now, the biggest question out of the gate was all about the electronics, and people were like, oh, I wonder how they're going to hold up in a year. Now, listen, if you're new here, I have a pellet grill that I've been using for 3 years. So there are hundreds of thousands of pellet grills out there today that all have electronics that sit outside and don't have a problem at all. So right away, I would strike that one off your concern list. Now, the one thing I will say is get a cover for it, right? Don't let it sit out there in the rain. Now, for me personally, whether or not it's got electronics or not, I mean, this is my workhorse. It's covered up all the time. All of my smokers and grills are always covered. They're a lot of money. I just like to take care of them, so the first thing I do is order a cover with it. So the classic 2 cover works perfectly. Just order one of those, keep it covered when you're not using, no big deal. The next question was about cleaning it up on the inside because there is no basket. Let me bring you in close and we'll clean it up. Now that we've got our Joe all put together, we might as well fire it up. I've got to do some prep on the ribs. We haven't even started those yet. So let's turn this guy on. I'm gonna close our lid. You can see it's asking us about accessories. We're not gonna use any accessories today. I've already set it to 225. It's gonna tell me to close that. Now, if I wanted to change my temperature, now I can. We're gonna lock that in there. Now it's gonna tell me to adjust my top vent. So we'll open this up. It's asking for about right in the middle. And now we'll just fire it up. Let's go get our ribs. So here we are, the star of the show. As I mentioned in the intro, these are Snake River Farms Wagyu dino ribs. And let me tell you, this is a huge rack of ribs. Weighs 9.3 pounds. If you're looking for a treat for yourself, tough to beat some Wagyu ribs. I mean, dino ribs, just any dino ribs are delicious, but they were very hard to find. Luckily, Snake River Farms had some, so I picked these guys up. They arrived 2 days ago. They've been sitting in my fridge and I've been drooling ever since. Let's get these guys opened up. One thing I'll mention when it comes to beef ribs, we've got that layer of fat on top, right? When it comes to brisket, you leave that on there. That gets a beautiful bark on it, adds a whole bunch of flavor. When it comes to dino ribs, we've already got enough fat in there. So we're gonna take that off and just work with the meat itself. I mean, look at all that marbling in there. Just an amazing cut of meat. There's no reason for all this fat on top of it. And if you can see right here, there's actually a layer of silver skin underneath this fat. We want to get rid of that, right? So get yourself a sharp knife and just give this a nice trim. Take your time and take all this off. So we're gonna call this prepped. Couple quick tricks here. Number one, always try and cut with the grain of the meat whenever possible. Number two, I stuck this in the freezer for about 15 minutes before I trimmed it, just to keep the fat nice and hard so I can get to the bottom of it. Number three, use a sharp knife. And number four, take your time. It isn't a race. You want to take the least amount of meat as possible. I mean, we're taking off very little meat. Let's get this guy seasoned up. Very difficult to do in the winds today at 28-mile-an-hour gusts. So we've got a nice coating of salt and pepper on there. We are going to go the extra mile today and just put a light coating of Lawry's seasoned salt on top. So we've got 2 parts pepper, 1 part salt, a little bit of Lawry's just to cap it off with some extra flavor. Let's get these guys on the pit. Got our smokeware drip pan in there. The ribs are even bigger than it. So, smoke-wise today, we've got some oak, we've got some cherry from our friends over at Bear Mountain. Got a little mix. That cherry in there is gonna give it a little bit of color, a little bit of sweetness. But what I'm gonna do, since this is gonna be a longer cook, is we're gonna steal James's trick from Smokin' Dad Barbecue, and we're gonna put some extra chunks down in the bottom in the ash drawer once we get further into our cook. It's been 3 hours. We're at the worst possible time to film as the sun goes over the house, so bear with me. But as you can see, we're looking pretty good. We've been rolling at 225. The only thing that I did change is add a couple cups of water to our smokeware pan in the bottom, just to keep some moisture in there. And then after the first hour, this is 50-50 water, apple cider vinegar. I did give us a little spray, not a lot, just enough to keep it moist, right? Starts to dry out a little bit on this side, and we want to make sure that we keep it nice and moist. We're looking pretty good. But what I want to do now is we're going to speed it up a little bit. So let's get on to our app here. And we will tap to connect. There we go. Just had it open, so it's saying 192 right now. We're going to bump our temperature up to 275. And we're going to start to bump up our temperature. So what we're going to do now is we're going to keep spraying every hour, and we're at that point where I'm going to start putting some more wood chunks in the bottom tray. It doesn't work when it's like 225. It's not hot. There's not enough hot embers falling down there. But now that we're getting hotter, we're going to get some more heat down there, and we'll start to do the smoke tray hack. But what we want to do is we want to get this up to temperature a little higher. That way we can push this through the cook, and I'm getting hungry. So we need to move this along. So as you can see, we still have a ton of smoke coming out of here. I want to share with you what I did. We went through a couple chunks about this big of the Bear Mountain cherry. Once I got up to 275, we were able to use the ash drawer hack. Ignore this temperature. I had a camera running out of battery, so I had to have it open for a little while, and I haven't stabilized it yet. But what I want to show you here is that this is the second piece left. So pretty hefty piece that we went through, right? So we've gone through almost 2 of these guys in our smoking process. So we've got lots of cherry smoke on there. And remember, I started with some oak and some cherry in the beginning. Let's get rid of that. Won't need this guy. We are gonna get ready to wrap our ribs here. Can't be knocking over my rum and coke. Cheers. It's kind of like barbecue. Never gets old. We're gonna put that there and hope that holds for our wind. That'll be a big enough piece there. So we're gonna put some cotton gloves on underneath our black gloves so we don't burn our hands off. This is gonna be hot. So as you can see, this guy is looking phenomenal, if I do say so myself. I'd pat myself on the back, but my hands are kind of full. Check out that guy. Looking delicious. Perfect. Now what I've done is I've taken some Wagyu tallow, melted it down just a little bit, and we're just gonna pour. Make sure we get all of the meat covered. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this guy this standard wrap. Pull it this way. Now you wanna make sure that it's tight, of course. Like so. And we'll take this side, same thing. Make sure it's nice and tight. But we're nice and tight and pulling it up on both sides, right? And now what we'll do is we'll right around like that. Once you get to this side of it, you want to pull. Now the big thing is to remember which side's top and which side's bottom, because we don't want sitting on the bottom. All right, so we're on the bottom right now. Now we're on the bones. And it does not look like we're going to be able to get another wrap out of this. And we'll just fold this up underneath. Try and make sure that's as tight as possible. Now the reason why we don't want that sitting in the tallow is because it will ruin our bark. We definitely don't want that. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this until it's tender, probably close to 200-ish, 195, somewhere in there. But we're gonna use our thermometer and we're gonna feel the tenderness and we'll pull it off then. I'll let you know how long that takes. It's been about another 45 minutes, not quite. Let's see where we're at. Feeling nice and tender. Remember, make sure you get the middle, but we're at 201 there. Oh yeah, it's feeling really good. 200, 197 to 200. I think we're right where we want to be. We're gonna shut this guy down, put that in the cool down mode, and we're gonna let this rest. So what we want to do is we want to get this down to probably in the neighborhood of 150. I'm not sure we're gonna have time to get it down to 140. It's getting late. And it's Sunday. I gotta work tomorrow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this rest. I've got this on a rack, so we're off the cookie sheet. That's gonna allow some air to circulate around it. That'll help it rest or come down in temperature a little quicker. And because we've got some tallow in there that's leaking out a little bit, we want to have something to catch that. So next time I see you, we'll be trying this bad boy. So it's been 2 hours. I think that we're at a good point where we can try these. We're at 145, 146. So we're perfect. If you can get them down to 140, wait that long. But anywhere between 140 and 150 is a good temperature to try these out. So real quick, on this channel, I do a contest every video. And when I did the unboxing video for the Konnected Joe, I did not do a contest. I really wanted to focus on unboxing that and just having a look at it. But going forward, every Thursday, when I do a video on Thursday, there'll be a contest. Now, super simple to enter. All you gotta do is you gotta be subscribed to the channel, gotta like the video, and you have to comment with 2 hashtags. I'll mention that in the video, and I'll do a random drawing from all the comments in the video, and if you win, you will win a $25 gift card to @bbq.com. Super easy. Now, the only caveat is if you're a Patreon member, you can join for as little as $5 a month. I will double it. I'll make it 50 bucks. So for this contest, what we're gonna do is we will do hashtag Snake River Farms, hashtag Kamado Joe. Leave your comments down below and I will do a random drawing next Thursday. So just to keep it easy for everyone to remember, Thursday videos, I'll do the previous Thursday video. Even if I skip a week, then you'll have 2 weeks to leave comments. And then Tuesday videos, you'll have a week or two depending on when I put the videos out. That way we don't have an issue where you're not getting at least a full week, sometimes 2 weeks to put in your comments. let's have a look at what we got going on here. Gonna unwrap this. We got a fair amount of tallow in our cookie sheet here, and more right there. There we go. There we go. Now, if you have an offset or a fire bit, this is great for starting your fire. So I always put them in a Ziploc bag and just hang on to them for when I need them. But I'm gonna move this aside. Let's get this on the rack here. There's more than enough tallow on it. I don't need more tallow. Got the jiggle. Everything's nice and moist. I think we're gonna have a great looking beef rib right there. You can see the bones twisted slightly, which is normal. Let's cut into this bad boy and have a look, see how we did. Wow. Check out the smoke ring on that. Looking pretty tasty if I do say so myself. Let's flip this around so you can get a look at all the pieces. But that is a good looking piece of meat. Great smoke ring around there. Looking super, super juicy. Nothing to complain about there. Let me get a little bit of a... All right, enough drooling. It's time to try these guys. I'm actually going to dig into the small one right here. Wow. Yup, that's why we do barbecue right there. Brisket on a stick, but better. I mean, look at that. That, my friends, is a delicious rack of ribs. Now, look, there's only 3 racks here, but these are huge pieces of meat, so you can cut these off the bone and share them with a couple people. If you've never done doner ribs before, this is the universe telling you it's your time to try these, because these are absolutely delicious. If you like brisket, if you like smoked beef, you're gonna love these. Give them a try. That cherry wood gives a nice little sweetness in the background. Use your favorite wood. Oak, hickory, cherry, pecan. All of it's gonna be delicious. Give it a shot. I think you're definitely gonna love this one. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, please do so below. I'll see you soon.